Okay, it's 9 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order with a moment of silence. Thank you. First order of business is to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approved minutes of April 4 and 11.
Support.
Motion made and seconded to approve minutes of April 4 and 11. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Need a motion to accept the third quarter reports of the sheriff and recorder.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made and seconded to do so. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We have a liquor license request from the Raceway down at Eddyville. Yeah, I think I saw it. There are no problems, are there? You're aware of? Yep. Okay.
Make the motion that we approve the liquor license for Iowa Raceway Incorporated.
Motion made and seconded to approve the liquor license for the Iowa Raceway. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Payroll change auditor has requested Joanne Huggins be hired temporarily at $10 an hour.
Move to approve the request for change of payroll.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to do so. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. No conservation report because Dave is out burning maybe, and Deanne DeGrove is not here for the M-Card report. And Brad Ryman is not here for the renewal plan yet. What? Oh, is he?
There.
Well, you can't hide behind the crowd, Brad. I'm sorry. I didn't see you come in.
Thanks.
All right, well,
You didn't want to see me, Dave.
probably. But we'll let that go.
Well, you got me in here quick today. Wow.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
I will tell you that you guys are fortunate enough to get the free-range binders today. We ran out of spiral binders, but what I would recommend is that if you're using the old ones, just put the stuff in the other ones. So, all right. Sue, did you get a copy out to everybody ready? Did they get, everybody see? Okay, I just wanted to know. Okay, let's talk about the renewal analysis, the dental and vision renewal analysis, and then we'll talk about COBRA. And then I have a couple of topics, discussion, and then I always put in the history in there, so if we got something to reference to. So tab 1, we negotiated with National Insurance Services last year to get you 2-year rate guarantees, so we have no rate adjustment on the life insurance this time. We didn't do anything with that. On voluntary, we did negotiate that with that as well. So again, we're in the same boat, same situation with that. There's no change on the voluntary life as well. So the only time is just make sure that people understand, that anybody that's on the voluntary, that when they go to the next age bracket, even though we did have a rate guarantee, the rate tables did not change. So anybody that went from a 49 to a 50, they would have a rate adjustment. Just to give an example. So, any questions on the life insurance? We've been with National Insurance Services for quite some time, and they still continue to be competitive in the public sector, the cities and counties. So, any questions? We'll move on to tab 2. On the medical, this is your loss ratio report. This is really where you kind of get an analysis of what your claims are doing, and so forth. It also indicates that the specifics and so forth. And I do want to note here that on this report, you notice that it says medical not covered by aggregate. That claim is a duplicate. So what's happening there is you're wondering, well, why would we not cover $203,000 worth of claims? Well, what happened is it went through twice, sometimes 3 times. So that's all duplicate stuff that you're wondering about. So that's under that non-medical. Then we had, today we've got $66,000 worth of, almost $67,000 specific claims. You're running at 76%, and, or 77, close to 77. They try to, or you'd like to have that number between 75 and 80%. So right now, you're doing fine. I think if we go back and look at the review as well, it was sitting about the same thing. We haven't had much adjustment. Matter of fact, it's gotten a little better because the specific claim that's come in has calmed down a little bit. So I think maybe that might have run its course. So, any questions on that report? Dental and vision claims are also on the side there. If you want to, there is, just to give you an idea, the history page does indicate that if you take your dental claims, it's not that far off from what it's been in the past. Nothing's drastic about that, so. Okay, any questions on that report? Anybody? The next one is the specific report. You've got one claim that's has exceeded the $45,000 specific. And we have one that's sitting at 80% and then one at 78%. Don't know the status of those, although we do see they are enrolled. The 53,000 or 53% one is no longer in the plan, and neither is the 61% one. All the other ones are, and as you can see, they range from members to spouse to dependents and so forth. Any questions on that report? Okay, turning to tab 3, it kind of gives you an idea of where the claims are coming from. The one I always look at right away that jumps out at me is if you have a large claim that comes in that year, it really doesn't matter whether the regional hospital Pella is high or not. It could be a different hospital because they could have gone there, there could have been 2 people, so forth. But the person that has the specific claim is more than likely at the Mahaska County Health or the Pella Regional, so forth. One of the things that, like I said, I always look at is that pharmacy number. That's at 17%. It's a little high. I think I've mentioned that many times. The only way we change that is if we start putting in managing prescriptions and putting in higher copays and so forth. But again, I think that's something that we've addressed many times. But until that has been changed, that number's still going to continue at that rate. It's going to probably continue to go up. Other than that, there isn't anything else on here that really jumps out at me, other than that pharmacy a little bit. Any questions on that report?
What should that be at?
That pharmacy? 12. Now, the thing about it is claims are going up, your number is still same, so it tells you there's more prescriptions, so it's not, it should really be going down, because claims are, as a rule, the cost of healthcare has gone up, not on prescriptions alone, but healthcare. So if that number stays the same, everything else going up, that means that number is going up with it, just quicker, okay? So, all right, the next page is, and again, this is something I bring up numerous times, that you do have preventive health on your plan. You're mandated by the state, or the government, that you have to have preventive services. And something that really jumps out at me, we've heard me say this so many times, that you got 45 people who are eligible for colonoscopy, only one. And colon cancer is the #1 preventive cancer. If it's treated early, it's cured. But you got 45 people who are eligible for it, only one person's had a colonoscopy, and then 50 plus age. And again, I think this is time, again, that maybe we want to put some kind of education out to the employees to get them. And the other thing is the females are the same thing, males and females. Mammograms are down. I mean, that should be, everybody should be getting a mammogram, but there's only 42 eligible, only 14 got it. Pap smears, that's 115 eligible and 19. Those are all things that prevent those large claims, if they just go do it. Physicals, that's always a preference, but again, people are getting physicals, but if you look at that number, people aren't getting their physicals either. So all these things on this page are things that you can prevent from large claims happening. And, I know I've harped on it, but it's just something that people sit in front of me and go, "Oh, our claim was," well, this is why. And yes, it costs more money to do those things, but these are small amounts compared to what the outcome will be. So I'm done talking about that one.
You know, I think employees understand this, but how do you lead a horse to water, but you know how that goes.
Sometimes it just takes somebody to have a situation
Yeah.
that occurs that if they would have gone, it wouldn't be where they're not with us anymore. I mean, sometimes that's what it takes, unfortunately. But, education. It's kind of interesting, the doctors aren't, there must be people that don't have that personal relationship with the physician as much as they thought, but, anyway. Any questions on that page? You heard me harp on it. Okay, the next page is always another area that is always nice to look at, and always is good news, hopefully. It talks about the discounts you're getting from the Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield program. The Classic Blue, the program you had, now, the other thing, I think I've mentioned this before, you're on the Classic Blue program. The Classic Blue program allows you to only have a percentage, a difference of 10% between your two in and out of network, okay? Alliance Select allows you to have, you have to have a 20% differential. The way your contract's written, and I believe because of the union contract, you can only have a 10% differential. If you were to go to the PPO Alliance Select program, you would even get a bigger discount than you're getting in here. You're getting a very substantial discount on the Classic Blue, but you're not getting as much as you would probably with Alliance Select. Now, how much is that gonna be? 3 to 4%. Blue Card are the claims of people that go to providers that are outside the state that utilize the PPO doctors in those states. So if they go to the University of Nebraska or they go to Chicago, whatever, they use those providers. So they're also getting a 33% discount on those people that are using outside the. Now that number would be greater. I'm sorry, this number here, you're looking here, you got these billed charges. But what happens here is because they're going on network, they're not paying, you're paying more for it, but your out-of-pocket is the same whether you're in or out of network. So there really isn't any incentive for anybody to go anywhere. They can go anywhere because of the way the program's set up. The Blue Card, you go to any provider in the United States, as long as they're with the Blues in that state, they're gonna get a discount. But if you would shrink that and say that the employees, if you go in network to the Alliance Select program, you get a greater discount there, but if you go outside the network, you got a 20% difference instead of 10, but your out-of-pocket would be double. So you're taking on, so you've got some people that are using out of the network. I mean, there's some $334,000 bill charge that came through, and adjusted charge is $233. So you got people using outside the network. So that's another, but that's a plan design. And you're not doing anything wrong, it's just something to look at. That's one way to manage your claims a little bit more. But where that does, it pushes the cost back to the employee. You're getting 43% discount on your prescriptions. That's good. And that was one of the reasons that Walmart switched to category. But now it's with Simple. So, any questions on that? All right. Now if we go to the annualized cost projection, this just takes a snapshot of what we have to date up till March 31st. We take a snapshot and then we annualize everything. So if you take the reinsurance, the specific and aggregate reinsurance, you're $233,000 there. Your medical administration is $41,000. Your PPO access, that's the discount. That PPO access, that's where you're getting the discount because you're Classic Blue. Okay? Then you go to claims, then we just put in the dental there, it's not added into the medical, but it does note here, you got your annualized $79,000 for dental and $33,000 for vision. Medical, you're 1,107,000. If you go back and look at that aggregate report that we just talked about, that's the number there. Then we back out the specific, then we back out the non-covered. We get the total medical claims as of March 31st, 837,000. We annualize that, we get to 1,116,605. Your attachment point for annualized attachment point is 1,000,004. So there's your 76%. Okay? So what we do is we annualize everything, we look at this and go, okay, if we take those numbers, 233,097 and the 50,000 medical administration and the annualized claims to date, you're about $1,400,000 worth of total expenses for the year for your total claim. The maximum it could have been, it was 1,734,000. And a lot of that all boils down to because you're sitting at 75% of your attachment point. As Willie knows, we've been here before where that number isn't as nice. So for history, it goes back a ways. Any questions? All right, the next page is the renewal. What's different about the one that Sue sent you, we did add, when Sue had asked for if we had anything to send out to the supervisors, we did not have the alternate back from Walmart yet for $50,000 specific. So this looks there's one more row here than what you had originally gotten. So that's this last one of the option. We'll go down through this. The first column is just an average enrollment for the year, but really how we do is we look at it, what currently are you at? So take the current is what we're comparing everything to. The biggest cost factor is Walmart's expense of going from $28.32 to $37.69, the new administration cost. Now, let's see, I don't know how many of you were on the board. When we switched over with market, you guys were on here when we switched from first administrator to Walmart. One of the main reasons that Walmart, the first administrators, got out of the business is because Walmart felt that they were losing money on their administration side. So what's happening here is we're getting the catch up is what's happening. So that's one of the reasons it's gone up. It's not that their cost of business have gone up, they're catching up to what other companies who had Walmart, who still continue to have Walmart, they're trying to get that in line with the administration of that. Now the other thing, the PBM charge, if you remember, the PBM charge was, before, it was on a per contract per month, which means if you had 5 people in your plan, you paid 68 cents for 5 people. 5 times 68, you paid $3. Well, now what they did is they're going to switch it to a per employee per month, which is going to be $1.33. So that's the average, $1.72. It was how many employees you had with dependents and so forth. Now it's $1.33. The network access fee hasn't changed. So the total unit price, if you look at that, has gone up 24.28%. The overall fixed administrative cost did. Okay. The reinsurance premium is where the specific premium, the aggregate didn't go up, but the specific premium went up a little under 7. It's about 7%. Okay, that's a 7.35, but that includes the aggregate insurance as well, which didn't change. So the overall fixed cost went up 10.32. And the biggest factor on this really is that administration cost. Now, some people ask, well, how does that compare to other people, other companies, or other cities, or other counties? That is pretty good. Now the reason is because when you're sitting at 75% specific, that's good. Plus you've only had one claim this year that's gone over. That's good. So that's helped your renewal. As you can see down here, we go down to the aggregate factors. They went up 7.40, and that's all trend. So the overall, if you take the maximum exposure, your cost went up 7.89%. So if I was sitting in front of you here today and said that your cost, you're fully insured, that's the number. That's really the number you kind of want to look at. You can say, well, our cost, overall cost went up 7.89%. Because that's your maximum exposure. I don't know how, Sue, maybe you have the answer to this. What funding amount? Is it funded to the max? No, it's been cut back because of the reserve, correct? Because we've got this reserve we gotta use up. So that's a good problem, having too much, having reserves. Now, I did put in a $50,000 specific here. And the reason I put it in here is, these are numbers you're saving. If you were to switch to a $50,000 specific, you got $16,000 per quarter. So you're saving about $22,000. Okay? Now that means, what's my risk of my specific? Because now you're going from a 45 to a 50. So you've got a $5,000 more exposure. Okay? So the first question people ask is, what a little bit of our history, okay? So I pulled up your history, if you want to make note of this. In 12-13, years 12/13, you would have had $15,000 more exposure. You had 3 claims that went from the 45 to the 50 in excess. So that's $15,000 more exposure you did. 15. Okay? So that means if you take, going forward, and you take those claims that year, that means you made $7,000. Been ahead $7,000. Okay, in 13-14, it was $12,933. But a couple claims that were a little bit under the 50,000, but they were over the 45. Okay, so again, you're looking at $9,000, close to it. Okay, however, last year the number was $26,478. So and this year you're sitting at 5. You got 5,000. So that's something to consider. I don't know if that's something you want to do, but I know we've talked about it. I think we'll go back.
That's just a good guess sometimes.
It is. And you know what will happen? You'll have a bad year next year, and you'll look at me and go, what did we do that for? Well, but I go back to 2008/2009. Guess your specific was 45,000.
It's been the same for quite a
It's
while.
been the same since 08, 09.
It's been that way a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it was before yeah. So it's been that way for a long time. So, can you go back? People do go back. They start there, they go, we're gonna go back. So I mean, that's something that has to be.
Yeah.
Any questions on that page? Just a couple of other things too is the transitional reinsurance fee for 2016. In 2015, it was $3.67. I know it's noted on the bottom down here. It's going to be $2.25 per employee for 2016. And then your per quarry fee is going to be $2.08, which Wellmark administers and collects those that fee for you. Okay, the per quarry fee, and they charge 75 cents for that. Also, note, on these illustrations, these specific reinsurance premiums, you see the little stars on the side there? Refer back to that. Wellmark reinsurance fees are one premium. So what we did is we converted this into single family so that you could at least illustrate because if you didn't do that, the family rate and single family rate would be so far off because we want to come up with some premium equivalent. So if you take 174.70 and you times it by 113 and times it by 12, you should really come very close to the reinsurance premium within a couple dollars. That's been that way since we've been with Walmart, but I just want to note that everybody Sue is probably the one that sees it most, she sees the invoice. So when the invoice comes through, so forth. Okay? Cap set. All right. Your dental plan is, right now, Emeritus charges $5.48 to administer your dental plan, and when they took it over, they said, we'll do the vision for nothing. Or another way to say, we're doing them all for $5.48, okay? So the dental administration cost is gonna remain the same. However, the vision, they're gonna charge 50 cents. So it's $66.50 times 12 is what your additional is, $700 and some plus to do the dental this year. Or I'm sorry, the vision. There is a lot more activity on the vision than I think they anticipated. The dental's dental, the vision, I don't think they understood. I don't think they understood. But they gave you a 2-year rate guarantee when it first came in. So we're in our second, this will be our 3rd year. But anybody know it there? That is a 2-year rate guarantee. They're not gonna change it. I did go back to them and ask them, kind of funny. I went back and asked them if they would consider 1 year, and they said, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. So that's what they have for that. So we're gonna leave that one alone. All right, the next page is the Cobra administration. No change in that. All right, before we go into discussions, any questions? Anybody? Okay, we're going to discussion. First bullet point there is annual enrollment. It's probably more directed to Sue, but Sue, we need to set a time when you're gonna have your annual enrollment to get your forms in. Just kind of back it up. We need to have everything into Wellmark by the 15th of June. Okay, so if it was me, I would say probably the last week, maybe the first week in May, maybe the second week in May. Just give it a week or two. If you give them 3 weeks, it's almost like it still ends up being a week. So, usually people will start on Monday and end on a Friday probably, so they'll do it that 2 weeks that way. So. Okay, next thing is that I did notice this earlier, that the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, a quarry fee is due on July 31st, which is $2.08. And we've helped Sue with that in the past, so we'll be on top of that with that. I did find a little typo error here. Where it says third bullet, it says HSS announces, it's HH. Okay? That's Health and Human Services. All right, the HIPAA compliance audit. In 2012, the Health and Human Services did HIPAA audits. And you got your Health Insurance Portability Protection Act audits. And what that does is basically protects a person's personal health history information, okay? So in 2012, they did the audits. It was just an announcement off, Scouts is going to do audits, okay? Companies got emailed to them, and then they went out and had to fill out a questionnaire, and then after they filled out the questionnaire, then they had decided whether were going to audit them or not. First of all, you gotta get an email, you gotta respond. So first, I don't even think you probably got the email. Or it came through as spam, or it came through as, well, I'll get to it later. So originally, they didn't have, a lot of people didn't reply to it much. So they did have 100 and some audits that they gave a report on. Well, they weren't real happy about the response and about the results. So they're going to now, there's called a HIPAA Phase 2 audit, okay? Which you will get an email, you will get a 27 question questionnaire, and after you fill that out, then you will get back to, then they will decide whether you're one of the lucky ones to be audited. Just because you answered the questionnaire doesn't mean you're going to get audited. Are they going to go after a county in Oskaloosa? I'd be slim to none probably, but there is a possibility. But I wanna be on record to let you know that there is a HIPAA audit that's going on, it's coming, okay? And a questionnaire and so forth, and you may be selected. So what I'm letting you know that there is an option, turn the page, if you want to pay $400 to make sure that your plan is in HIPAA compliance. Task will make sure that you are in HIPAA compliance. I would say I've had a lot of people that have taken advantage of this $400 because it's pretty reasonable. But that's some of it you've already got. You have your HIPAA privacy. If you go to your portal site, there is a HIPAA privacy notice to all your employees. That's only part of it, okay? In the past, people haven't been real serious about this. But now they're putting the penalties on it, and it could be up to $100 a day, and they'll go back as far as 2012, and so I just want to make sure that everybody understands that there's a possibility of being audited. Will you be audited? I don't know, I don't think so, but you might, okay? So I'm letting you know that it's coming, and there is an option. For $400, you can get yourself in HIPAA compliance. You have a teeny bit of it done, but there's other parts of it. Really, they're just making, it's gonna start getting a lot more. If this doesn't, they're gonna make sure that people's health information is protected. You gotta have a business associate agreement, you gotta have a compliance officer, you gotta have, and that sounds really overwhelming, but just a written so you can show it when they show up. So, that does not have to be decided today, but I would suggest that it be put on the agenda for maybe the next one to decide whether you feel like you should pay the $400 to get it done. That's strictly up to you. Today, it does not have to be decided. But the HIPAA audits have been sent, the notices are gonna be sent if you haven't gotten it already. And it's gonna take a little bit of time for them to catch up, so it wouldn't be hard to get this in compliance by the time they show up, if they did, okay? Any questions on that? Anybody? Okay. The next thing is the Cadillac tax. You hear about it. Because you don't have a flex plan, there was talk that the flex plan, if somebody could put in $2,550 into their flex plan, that was supposed to count for the Cadillac tax. Well, they threw that out, okay? And there's also some talk that it's going to be extended again, okay? Or whether it'll even be around. We've got an election coming up, so things may change a little bit, okay? But based on the numbers that you're at now today, based on your premium equivalent, you're probably not, it's not an issue yet. Even if I take trend and do it 10% or 15%, you're still okay until 2018. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it, but we will monitor it. We'll make sure that but right now, it looks fine. But again, we're dealing with a law that may change or may not even exist, okay? Because that's probably the biggest of the ACA things that's sitting out there right now. Any questions about the Cadillac tax? All right. And the last one here is the consultant fee. Our consultant fee will remain the same, we're not gonna change it. But we're gonna go to now we don't have to write 2 checks. We're not gonna, and we don't have to run, we're gonna run, the fee is gonna show up on your Walmart bill invoice. So no change in the fee, but we're just gonna move that on to Walmart. So that's one less check to us, one less to our administration side, makes it a lot cleaner. Let's just do that, and Walmart can do that for us, okay? Any questions? Then the last page is the history. Then we have what last year's finalized, and then what year to date should be equivalent to what you already saw, so.
Is that HIPAA compliance, is that something we can send out to Roger from Crouch to see if we've already got that
I'm
covered?
not to ask them if this will be included in that as part of it.
When do we have to decide the reinsurance? Pretty quick.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
I guess from my point of view, I'd leave it like it is, but maybe.
unless you need to discuss the going to a higher specific, that would be the only thing that maybe you want to do, but I don't know what'll happen. We'll do it, then next year we'll have 2 claims, 3 claims, or we need to have 5 claims. Yeah, if you could do it today, that'd be great. You can't, but let's see, the next board meeting is when?
Second.
So we should be, I gotta get the SBCs to you. Before you do the open enrollment, I gotta have the summer benefits certificates, gotta go to the employees before you do the open enrollment. So that's 2 weeks. If you can do it today, that'd be great. Can't, you can go to the next one.
I'm okay going up to 50,000 on the specific. From the history, 12-13 would have saved 10,000, year after that 7,000. Would have been on the wrong end by about 4,000 last year, but this year we'd be on the right end of it again. So 3 of those last 4 years, it would have saved us money.
Let's see, do we even have any?
And it's been 8-9 years since it's been increased, so I don't know what we're gonna go to 50.
Did you want it from 08 to 09, any of the other years?
I can get this for you, if you want to. I don't, no, I do not. I can get those for you. Oh, you know what? Let's see, let me check here. I might have it in here. Mid-year report. Okay, what was? Oh, you know what? All I have is a number. I don't have how many went over. I don't have it. I got the amount that went over. In 10-11, you had $23,000 specific, but that doesn't mean, that could be one person. I don't have that. I only have the total. I don't have how many. But I can get that for you if you feel a little more comfortable doing that.
I think 3 out of the 4 years, I guess, and then just historically. The data that we have supports going up to 50,000, I think. This year, we're already at 5,000 in the first 4 months. It looks like we'll probably do.
No,
pretty good
4
this
months, so
year.
you got 3 months left.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're at 5,060, or excuse me, 15
5 this year is all.
to 60. Okay. so
You had
we'll be
one
at-
claim that went over 50, went between 45 and 50.
For those last 9 months.
Pardon?
For the last
For the-
9 months.
Okay,
9 months, yeah.
so we're sitting pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Kind of
Now,
historic.
what we do, in December, it was the same number. So that hasn't changed much. So 3 more months later, it's still the same number for this year. And, I would hope that maybe you know the situation with that person, or maybe some of the other ones that are on that report that are coming, I mean, that's another thing too, is it would take 4, 5 claims, then it would be not a good investment. And it's only happened once in the last, those numbers I gave you. And do everybody remember my 10 years? We got 2 bad years, 2 really good years, and then everything in between. And this year, I would probably classify this as something in between. It wouldn't be a great year.
What do you wanna do?
I'll move to approve Wellmark for the specific 50,000, approve the emeritus for dental, and approve the Ceridian for program.
Second.
Did you support that, Mark?
Yes.
Okay. All right, motion made and seconded to raise the specific to 50,000 and dental and vision also. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. What else you got?
That's all I have. All I have to comment I have, as soon as I got all the paperwork in your book. It needs to be signed, so,
Okay.
nothing needs to be signed for Ceridian, nothing needs to be signed for life insurance, just the reinsurance would have to be signed in the paperwork. That's all in there. Well, I take that back. The Ceridian paperwork does have to be signed because we need to know what the new COBRA rates will be. That will be discussed between myself Wednesday anyway. With the mechanical equipment. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'll go to the next one. That's good, the lead, right?
It is dry.
Jamie?
Morning. I'm coming to talk to you guys about our county antiquated phone system. And as you may or may not know, we had directed by the state to upgrade our 911 system from the E911 to the NG, the next generation. We did that last week, and we've had nothing but issues because of our analog phone system. E5 has been on site, basically duct tape and bubble gum, trying to get it tied in. We just need to look at possibly upgrading that. I know, talking with Darren, it's kind of been brought up in the past, but when I talked to Mike, there really wasn't a kind of a game plan of where it's going. I did do some talking to E5, and he did just present a couple things to me as far as, what it would cost. And granted, I'm not looking for you guys to dish out $60,000 a day. That's pretty much the bid that he gave, was $58,000. They also, talking with them, presented a lease option. This would, again, get everything digital. E5, they know the county phone systems are the ones that work on it now. And with a lease option, you could do it for 60 months. And it'd be about $15,000 for the year. Talking with Darren, the good thing about the lease option would be, the way technology is changing right now, that 60 months is up, either we can look at upgrading it again and starting a new lease, or we can just keep the equipment and keep moving forward if, there hasn't been a substantial change. Here's the lease option there. Sorry to make copies for everybody. I just really think we need to get some kind of plan together and move forward with something. Right now we kind of even talked about the 911 side of things, just going on its own phone system just so it'll actually work. It is working right now. Like I said, the quality is very poor, there's a lot of humming. And I would gladly work with Darren and solicit other bids of either the lease or the buy program.
How much is the lease, I'm sorry?
It'd be just there's your month breakdown right there. So it's deferred for 90 days, and then if you want to do it 36, it's $1,900 a month, or if you want to do a 60, it's $1,200 a month. And at the 60, you're looking at about $15,000 a year, and they come in and they update our phone system. And E5, like I said, they work with our phone system, so that includes secondary roads, the courthouse, the law enforcement center. They come in, they change everything out, actually make us a digital phone system.
It's not the, it's not secondary roads,
Oh, it's
right?
not? I thought he told me it was secondary too.
Well, my plans are to eventually include secondary and the annex.
That's just for the courthouse?
Courthouse and law center.
Are there other infrastructure issues that need to be addressed with the phones there?
I need to get my network in a better place still before we are ready to go to that. My original plans were to start investigating a new, whether we stick with E5, we look at MCG, just go out, get some bids, figure out what type of phone system we do want to go to. My plans were to start that investigation in July and have a decision ready by budget hearings in December. Because deciding a vendor, it's going to include a lot of people. It's going to include all the departments in the courthouse, county and state. So, I mean, and changing someone's phone is a big decision. I don't think it needs to be done lightly, and I would say it needs to be thought out over several months to plan who we go to by December. And then, once we get to December, then we get ready and start getting our implementation plans together to start rolling out new, at the end of that fiscal year, and start on that new fiscal year. That was kind of my plan.
Is that acceptable to you?
Right, and I wasn't looking for let's make this happen today. I just, you know, when I called Michael, because he's on my commission, and, you know, talking with him, and it wasn't a lot of discussion as far as from the county perspective of where it was going. I know Darren had talked in the past about stuff being worked on. I'd really like to get this ball moving so that we can start making stuff work like it should be working over there.
But we're talking about summer of 17 before anything even be really.
Yeah, if we can pump that up a little bit, that wouldn't be bad, but like I said, I'm not looking for an answer today.
Well, yeah, but they're not being budgeted for this next fiscal year though. It's kind of,
But the only way we'd be able to do that would be an amendment.
yeah, we've done we've added a lot of stuff to next fiscal year budget already.
But I think one of the biggest decisions would be going with buying it ourselves or leasing it. Like Jamie said, going to a leased one would have its benefits of, you know, technology changes so fast, and at the end of 5 years, we renew our lease, go to whatever's new that's out there. I think that might be a little easier to budget for $15,000 a year than, well, is this phone system gonna last another year? Are we gonna have to drop $60,000 this next year?
Well, that's my concern. I mean, like I said, E5 was here pretty much all last week, him and Darren going through line after line. And even E5 will tell you, it's antiquated. Let's replace our rotary dials for the county, is my understanding.
Not quite, but after talking to Jeff from E5, he said that we had done a phone system refresh in about 2000. However, most of the cards that are in the current phone system are older than that because they were from the previous phone system, but they were compatible with that phone system. I mean, a card can be like $5,000. So, you know, they decided rather than going out and buying brand new cards, reuse what we had. But, so some of those cards are probably getting close to 20 years old, if not older.
So what's your next steps then are you gonna start talking to departments about what their needs are and be pretty deliberate with clerk court and
You know, clerk of court, juvenile, PD. You know, we're gonna have to include all of them on that, not sure if we have to let them know about what we're doing, and I think it would be beneficial to have their input on it since they do live on our phone system.
then plan to budget it for, is that what you guys are thinking, budget then? Next year?
That's what I would be thinking.
Yeah.
Does it take a little while to get this all rolling?
Yeah, it's not gonna be a small decision. I mean, just coming up with what phone vendor we do want to go to, what type of phone system we do want to go to, there are a lot of decisions to be made on that. I mean, newer phone systems are robust enough that you can have a piece of software on your machine and you wouldn't even, some of them are robust enough, you wouldn't even need a physical handset at your desk anymore. You just have like a Bluetooth headset and it picks it up from your computer even. Could.
We need to see the number for the secondary roads and the annex.
Yeah, but I would say adding them would be almost a no-brainer. There wouldn't be,
Yeah, we just need to see the numbers, the cost, how much that's gonna cost. What we've got before us is
Well-
not the finished product.
no, but their phone systems are also old as well.
I think I'd rather see us, rather than going to a leasing option to buy something, to get upgraded and then include that in our capital improvement project, our fund, to fund so much per year, in case we do have to have it redone over a period of time.
Okay.
It seems to be cost-wise the better option. If we don't wait 20 years.
Yeah, as long as we don't wait 20 years.
That work?
All the balls rolling, moving forward. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, Jamie,
You can have one.
thank you. Okay, next item is approve inspection contract with ISG. Evan?
Good morning, thanks for having me here.
Morning.
So there's not a whole lot of updates from the last time we were here, about a year ago, from when you guys signed your letter of intent to use ISG for inspection. I'd be happy to answer questions. That's usually how these things work best. I'm sure you guys have heard things or wondering where certain things are at. So if I can just answer any questions you have, it probably looks about the best.
In this contract, it shows that, you know, us as the owner and ISG is the inspectors. Is there any contractual language that guarantees that it would be billed back to Dakota Access?
It talks in there that the pay,
I read that part. It
Yeah.
shows that we're the guarantor rather than.
because this is a pass-through expense, we are only billing you, but it's stipulated in there that we will not get paid until you guys get paid. So it's hard for us to put into a contract something against Dakota Access when we're not having a contract with them. It's understood that the county will not pay for anything. That language can be revised if you feel more comfortable with it. My intent was to get these out to the counties so that their attorneys could look at them well in advance of the meetings and revise any language that we have. As of April 11th, we have begun billing on this project. We've actually started inspection services in some locations. So any language that you would like to see revised, we're more than happy to do. It's our intent to make it crystal clear that ISG will not bill the county any county dollars. This is all passed through. If there are our rates, our plans, our manning, that's all been approved already by the pipeline. So there shouldn't be any confusion when those bills come through. But I can understand the county's desire to have that explicitly spelled out in the contract. I'll let you know that 6 other counties have signed this exact agreement to date.
Where was that language spelled out at, I guess?
On the payment procedure 2.01 discusses the pass-through nature of it.
I didn't see that section. I jumped down here to the basis of payment.
Okay.
So I didn't see that, so that's. Did Jefferson County cancel a contract with?
French
Frank
Ranker?
Ranker.
No, actually, they signed with French Reniker a few weeks ago. French Reniker is yet to have their plan or their numbers approved by the pipeline. They're still in flux there. Van Buren County actually reneged on their letter of intent. Their board of supervisors signed a letter of intent with us, and then through some private conversations with French Reniker, backtracked on that and went with French Reniker. There was a big desire for local down there. So, so to date, we have 13 counties that we're inspecting, 263.5 miles or so of the 343. So we still have a substantial amount of the state to do, and like I said, all of our stuff is in place. There's no negotiating with the pipeline still to be done. It's all approved. We've started the hiring process of bringing on. This will ramp up and ramp down depending on the needs in the state. But we have our chief inspector, our assistant chief, and our 4 spread chiefs already working on this project for us.
Dave, did you have anything?
No, we had talked quite a bit, Evan and I did, and we went over a lot of things, and initially when we were going through all this, they were pretty much the lead company that was ahead of a lot of the other ones as for preparedness and plan of action. And when I read through the contract, I didn't see anything, because it had a section in there about pass-through pavement. So I was comfortable with the contract.
Well, it's a pleasure, gentlemen.
I'm okay for it today, if you guys are.
I think so.
We'll go for a discussion contract with ISG.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the contract for inspection on the pipeline with ISG. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
As we're moving forward with this, depending on how often you gentlemen would like updates, I'd be more than happy to come in. What I'm kind of pitching to counties is to scatter amongst the meetings and try to hit every county once a month. If you would like it more often than that, we can make that work. If you really don't care and you don't want to hear about it, you don't have to see my face again. So it's totally up to you. Inspection reports can be provided to you whenever you want, however you want them, whether it's electronic or hard copy. We're really here to answer questions for you guys, make you feel comfortable when landowners have questions for you. We got, Sue, did you get contact cards that we mailed? So we have contact cards. My direct cell phone number is on there. The chief inspector's cell phone number is on there. The number to our office and email are on there. This is what they look like. And hand those out at will, and if you need more, we can get you more.
Do you have an update on the timeline as far as the project goes?
You know, the 8th, they got their permit through the IUB, but they're still waiting on their federal permits through the Corps. And once they get that, there's a 30-day window where they have to notify counties, and then they can begin. So if they got their permit right now, they'd be 30 days out minimum from starting the project. So my best guess in Mahaska County would be sometime in June at the earliest. And then they're already behind schedule from where they had anticipated, so I imagine that they'll be trying to make up some time. But scheduling is, we are responding to their scheduling, we're not setting schedules, so I'll keep you updated on that as I come in. And then with the signed copy, office manager out of our Des Moines office will sign that. We'll get you a hard copy back. I appreciate you guys honoring that initial agreement that we had. We've set up a lot of plans and engaged a lot of inspectors based off of those, so it's, I really appreciate the for that.
Okay, have fun.
Yeah, will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next we have, authorized signature on all road damage agreement with Dakota Access. Dave, that's your thing?
Yeah, we have a finalized copy that evidently you still got the one with the borders on it, but the whole road agreement is something that the counties have worked. We talked to some to Evan on this. It's a protection from us. We have a surety bond requirement of $5 million on there. They go beyond 1 year. There's a pre and post inspection videos that's done on the roads when they're working through them and when they're completed. It goes, it also had a deal in there for assuming our time that we would have to take in order to go out there on a daily basis to inspect, which would be close to 7, 8 o'clock at night, depending on when they finish up their daily, to make sure the signs are in place, roads are passable and everything else. I've sent that down to DAP and they had a couple of changes that they requested on items 12, 14, 15, and 16, which I addressed that. It's a little different than what the state has. They came out with one this morning that's a little bit different. The wording, it says the same thing, just the wording's a little bit different on theirs. So if you want to wait and do the one the state's putting out, that's fine too, but this one is close to it in every way, shape, and form. Lee County, Ernie Steffensmeyer and Ben Hall and I worked on trying to get this put together so that we would have consistency throughout our region of the pipeline. And Lee had talked to the pipeline about how many days that they expected to be there, and they were talking probably around 70, 75 days at 30.02 miles. We have 32.54 miles, or 53 miles. So we figured they'd be here about 80 to 82 days. So we set up different things so that our charge for administrative costs to go out there and send people out there to inspect would be covered, and that plus the cost of the vehicle and anything else that we came up with. Theirs is a little higher than their, I think the state's version is 17,000, and we had like 11,000 based on our salaries and what have you, because some counties pay higher and whatever else. And I don't know if that, I know that they're not gonna use that as a flat fee because Jefferson and some of the other counties only have like 5, 10 miles. Our roads affected are about 140 some odd miles by the time, because of the direction of the way our roads are, and you have to go around a lot of ways to get to it. That affects a lot of our miles. And one of the roads that they're gonna use quite a bit is a T38 Plymouth Retainer, and it's got a lot of issues with it now, and so we're gonna have to video that real close to make sure when we get done that, you know, they get something fixed back up on it. The loads are all legal in length, or legal in weight, except for the equipment, but it's the passes, the number of passes and stuff to come through there. So we put that together so it would allow us to go to, give this to the Dakota Access, and they would be, you know, we'll turn in our time for that, so it's not coming out of our budget per se, it's something that we're doing extra and above, and we have to use overtime rates because it'd all be called back on 2 hours. So we have to use a minimum of 2 hours on it.
It'll be hard on T38, it's an old road.
Old Road, G5, the thing about it is if they were talking about somewhere around the end of May, starting in Lee County, depending on permits and everything else. They're also working on Highway 92 during the summer. So V13 is gonna get all the detour traffic, and as will Highway 23. So there's gonna be some, because they'll have that whole section closed there at the Skunk River. So yeah, there's gonna be some interesting bottlenecks in a few places, and maybe traffic where they weren't figuring on it, for the bypass and for the detour. So, yeah, we'll be busy this summer. I guarantee it.
You prefer us to approve this one, or wait for the one that the state comes up with?
Well, the state just had a different number than we did, and I'm not sure, and they were using Lee County's number, but their staff with the people they have, their wages were substantially or higher and stuff, so I used our rates and I came up with about $11,000. And that's figuring in 82 days. So I wouldn't be opposed to going with one that we did that doesn't have the DOT stamp on it, but it's the same as what they have basically, except sort of different numbers. Yep.
Make a motion when we authorize signature on the road damages agreement.
Motion made and seconded to authorize signature for the all road damage agreement with Dakota Access. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Committee reports.
I don't have a committee report, but have we set the date we're gonna certify the special election? Can we do that?
Maybe set a time, canvas time, yeah. Can be Monday or Tuesday. We'll have to do it. Night or tonight.
Any difference? Do it on a Monday?
1 o'clock?
Yeah, I'd like it in the afternoon. 1 or 2.
2 o'clock on the ninth? Is that what you're asking? You agree with? Work for you?
I'm all right.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Public comments? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Favor say aye.